Alright guys, this is the Maverick, and today I'm going to be talking about my views and everything falling in that as an umbrella at least, not getting down into the nitty gritty. But this will be my first partisan video, and if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But to the left, we have something I just thought was a neat picture: peace through prosperity. Meaning people will be more secure, everybody will be happier if they're prospering. And over to the right there, we have something from Ron Paul's 2012 campaign, and his three values are liberty, prosperity, and peace. And I could line those up and say that those are my three values. It's personal freedom, the ability to prosper, and to have a peaceful nation, one that's not always at war or solving civil disruptions. Alright, so to best demonstrate one of my biggest values, I just have free market. Now, there's a quote from Milton Friedman here, and he's honestly one of my heroes. I'll talk a lot about him in my videos. But he says, the most important single central fact about a free market is that no exchange takes place unless both parties benefit. And that's really the core of capitalism. I saw something really funny a few days ago called The Birth of Capitalism. It was just two cavemen walking around. One had a stick, one had a rock. The one with a stick says, I wish I had a rock. The one with the rock says, I wish I had a stick. And that's what a free market is about. The guy with the rock who wants the stick gets the stick from the guy who has the stick and wants the rock. That's what capitalism is about. Okay, another one of my core tenets is minimal government. The government being a very small actor in anything, if an actor in anything at all. I believe government is meant to uphold four values: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Fitting into the pursuit of happiness, property, private property rights. Now, I just saw something really funny on the internet, and it was like that flask or whatever that is that says maximum freedom, minimum government. And that's true. When government is small, it can better aid in the single most important tasks. When it gets larger, it starts to expand into other services and starts to grow away from that maximum freedom and the protection of private property rights and the protection of the good of everybody as a whole, and looks more towards social justice instead of allowing for individuals to be individuals. Now we have free trade, which is another one of my major issues. Free trade basically just means that I can trade with you, you can trade with me, we can trade whatever the heck we want to trade, and there's going to be no obstacles to that. I can trade to South Africa, South Africa can trade to the EU can trade to Germany, and Germany can trade. It's a complex web where every nation can trade with every other nation, because it's potential that every other nation has at least one thing that you want, and you have at least one thing that another nation wants. And that's the basis of free trade. Now, there are a few, and I do mean a few, times when an obstacle to free trade is necessary. Because a thing that free trade does is there will be nations that have less restrictions on corporate working, and so corporate companies are going to want to go overseas because it's cheaper to produce there and they can make more profits there, and that's what capitalism has, is an incentive. No incentive and people won't want to work. But free trade, for the most part, I believe, is a very crucial part of a thriving economy. Next, I strongly hold the belief that individualism is superior to collectivism. Collectivism being that you it's kind of one for all or all for one, and scratching out all for one. Collectivism is one for all. Individualism is one for one. You're making your own choices, which is one of the pillars of individualism there. You get to choose what you do with your life, nobody else. Whatever decisions you make have consequences. But that also means you are equal to everybody else. And it's that way in the sense that if you have the right to private property, then they have a right to private property. But that also means that if they made a choice against private property, that choice is theirs, not yours to fix. And the third and final thing is rights. We all have the right to do something. Like what I said with private property, we all have equal rights. So the private property example I gave, let's also apply this to pursuit of happiness. Whatever decisions you make affect your future, but you're also going to have the right to pursue happiness. Doesn't matter what you do along the way, you have the right to pursue it in your own way. And that's what individualism is about, your own way. Another part of this is whenever I look at a policy, I think, is this moral? If it's not moral, I don't support it. But I also don't believe that the state, like I said before, should be able to enforce my morals, because my morals are different than somebody else's morals, and their morals are different than somebody else's morals. But I'm a self-regulating moralist. That means I'll believe in what we should do, and I will always push that agenda, but I'm going to push it in my own life and in a community. I'm not going to push it through the government. And that's all morality really means, is living your life in a fashion where you want to do good. You are doing good and you're pushing good, but you're not forcing the government to push your brand of good onto other people. I think with all I've said, if you were paying attention before, that I am a libertarian. I'm not an independent because I find that I line up too much with libertarians. It would kind of be a crime for me to say that I'm not, since with everything I've said, I clearly am. free trade, minimal government, free market, individualism, self-regulating morality instead of pushing that on to other people. To me, Democrats. I think with all I've said, if you were paying attention before, that I am a libertarian. I'm not an independent because I find that I line up too much with libertarians. It would kind of be a crime for me to say that I'm not, since with everything I've said, I clearly am. Free trade, minimal government, free market, individualism, self-regulating morality instead of pushing that on to other people. To me, Democrats are